Few could have imagined that Tony Beets, who left the Netherlands as a teenager, would go on to become one of the most famous. As he approaches retirement, the legacy Tony Beets has created is evoking feelings that his family never anticipated. What transpires when Tony Beets leaves the spotlight is not just a story about gold, it's a story about grit, legacy, and the weight of inheritance. At 65, Beets is known to millions as the king of the Klondike on Gold Rush, where his booming voice, fearless work ethic, and unwavering dedication to the craft have become the stuff of legend. Tony's adventure started when, at the age of 18, he made the audacious decision to leave everything behind in the Netherlands in order to pursue a better life in Canada without knowing how he would get there. He took any job he could find, milking cows, doing construction, and doing whatever it took to make ends meet, but Tony always had grander ambitions in the back of his mind. These dreams were created out of ambition rather than comfort, and finally they brought him to the Yukon, a place such harsh as it is full of opportunities. Tony began his career as a machine operator in the harsh wilderness of Dawson City, learning the trade from the ground up. It wasn't glamorous or easy, but Tony saw something that others didn't, and in the mid-1980s, he made a pivotal decision by buying the Paradise. In contrast to many miners who merely took resources from the land, Tony restored long-dead dredges and massive rusting relics from a bygone era, bringing them roaring back to life where others saw junk. He will claim an investment that would become the foundation of his empire. In addition to finding millions of dollars in gold, those dredges would leave a legacy. Gold Rush producers were drawn to Tony's mining success and his demeanor, and soon everyone knew that Yukon Connors was unstoppable. However, Gold Rush did more than simply highlight Tony. It also exposed viewers to the Beets family, including his wife Minnie. Things get complicated for Tony because mining is a passion for his kids and a legacy they were born into. Tony is the quiet powerhouse behind the scenes who keeps the books and the family grounded. His kids, Kevin, Monica, and Mike, grew up in the mines and learned from their father's business and life lessons. But also a shadow that is difficult to escape, and as each ounce of gold is extracted from the earth, pressure mounts regarding whether they will live up to their father's name, follow in his footsteps, or forge their own path at a turning point. As Tony approaches retirement, he must make one of the most important decisions of his life. What will happen to the empire he has built, and more importantly, who will continue it? Due to the physical demands of mining, dangerous and unrelenting, Tony recently acknowledged in an interview that he has considered taking a break. However, unlike most people his age, Tony doesn't slow down easily. For decades, he has been the driving force behind one of the most prosperous mining operations in the Klondike, so letting go even a little doesn't come naturally to him. Meanwhile, his family is left to consider what that transition really means. The weight of responsibility, the pride in carrying on a hard-earned legacy, and the dread of failing to live up to it are the main causes of the tears shed, not merely emotion. While measuring the value of everything is more difficult, counting gold by the ounce is simple. Although Tony Beets' empire is a testament to decades of unrelenting work, his children face tremendous pressure to inherit it. They have worked alongside him for years, learning the ins and outs of the business, but as Tony considers passing it on, the burden of inheriting a fortune that Tony has built is not only financial but also emotional, generational, and deeply personal. The Beets family, known for their grit, finds themselves at a crossroads filled with emotion, uncertainty, and yes, tears. The next chapter as the gold rush continues and fans are closely watching not just for the next big gold. The question his kids must face is whether they are ready to lead or if the weight of his legacy proves too much to bear. The Beets name may be inscribed on the Yukon's mining history, but its future is still being written. Whether Tony stays or leaves, his influence will last forever because he did more than just mine gold. He unearthed a dynasty. When Tony hangs up his hard hat, it won't be in silence. Rather, it will be with the sound of legacy reverberating across the Klondike and a family resilient enough to carry it forward through tears, all for more than 10 years. On Gold Rush, Tony Beets has been a prominent figure, not only for his loud voice and audacious choices, but also for transforming a mining company into a family business with Minnie. His wife Tony has not only amassed wealth but also left a legacy, and now attention is turning to Mike Beets and Kevin Monica, the next generation. As Tony and many others start to face the reality of the future, even if they don't intend to retire, one question remains. Will the Beets children continue the family's legacy or create their own family's options? All of the Beets children have made a name for themselves within the family business. They grew up in the gritty world of Yukon mining, learning from one of the most successful miners in the Klondike. Despite the enormous success of their mining operation, Tony and Minnie have made it clear that Kevin, Monica, and Mike are under no obligation to stay in the business. What matters most to them is that their children find happiness, whether that happiness is in the mining industry or elsewhere. This is a rare sentiment in an industry where family operations frequently expect the next generation to follow in their footsteps, but for the Beets, autonomy is part of the inheritance. Tony and Minnie understand that true legacy isn't about pressure but rather about choice rising through the ranks, and that the decision to stay or leave ultimately rests with them. This is what makes the Beets family dynamic unique. The Beets kids have already demonstrated their abilities. Kevin, who began as an apprentice under Tony's watchful eye, has gradually grown into a key leader in the operation, taking on more responsibility with each passing season, making crucial decisions, and tackling difficult mechanical challenges with unwavering focus. His growth has not gone unnoticed by his parents or the Gold Rush viewers who have watched him rise. Monica, the youngest, has long been seen as the link between her brothers and goes beyond simply being a peacekeeper. She contributes a new perspective to the operation and is independent, thoughtful, and willing to challenge the status quo in a field that can be slow to change. Mike, the quietest of the three, has been gradually assuming his role. Although he may not chase attention, his dependability and knowledge of heavy machinery have made him indispensable like his brothers, and Monica's forward-thinking attitude may be crucial for navigating the future. The burden of legacy mining in the Klondike is heavy. It requires hard work, tough skin, and a willingness to bet everything on every season. For the Beets children, the stakes are even higher because they are not only handling heavy machinery and difficult conditions, but they are also doing it all in front of cameras. Mike works under the pressure of high expectations from his family and a worldwide TV audience. Living up to a legacy like Tony Beets is challenging enough, but being recorded puts additional strain on most children who will never comprehend it. Every choice is made in public, and every argument might become a plot point for Kevin, Mike, and Monica while Tony and Minnie continue to be active and involved. The future of the Beets mining empire is unwritten. Time will eventually pass, and the next generation will have to decide whether to carry on the legacy or step aside and start a new one. Whatever they decide, it's evident they have the support and respect of their parents, Kevin. The job isn't just physical. It's emotional as well. Years of experience have created a close-knit team, and despite the difficulties that come with fame and expectations, the Beets kids have demonstrated that they can handle the load. Mike and Monica have proven themselves in one of the most competitive industries on the planet, and if they decide to continue the tradition, they will do so not as Tony Beets' replacements, but rather as their own interpretation of what it means to be a leader in the gold fields. Whether that means modernizing the company or just continuing it in their own way, they have the expertise, experience, and familial ties to succeed. One thing is for sure though, the Beets name will always be respected in the Yukon.